My name is Bill McCamley. I'm a state representative from Las Cruces and Mesilla. It is January 19th, the third day of the legislative session, and this is your update for the day. So, as I've said before, I'm chairing a committee called the Labor and Economic Development Committee. And one of the main tasks that I'm setting for myself is to try to make sure legislation gets passed that sets up an economic opportunity in the future that does two things. One, allows us to stop with this current situation we have where basically the state's economy relies so overwhelmingly on two issues, the oil and gas industry and the federal government. As anybody who invests in the stock market knows, basic investment strategy is you never put all your eggs in one or two baskets, because if both of those go down, then you're flat broke. And as the federal government has cut back on their spending in the last few decades, and as the oil and gas prices in the last couple of years have gone kaput, that has basically left our state flat broke. And so we're going to be discussing, we've discussed all day today and we'll be discussing all day tomorrow, things we have to do and what is called solvency, ways to keep the state afloat and paying our bills. And that involves cuts, but also trying to shore up as much money as we can from accounts that are already there so that we don't lose what is called our bond rating, so that when we borrow money, we're not paying a higher interest rate. It's the credit rating for the state. That being said, I'll talk about that a lot more tomorrow because we'll be going through that in detail. Today, what I want to talk about is 5 basic things. So the Democrats have had these listening tours around the state. We had 2 meetings in Las Cruces, 2 in Albuquerque, and 1 each in Roswell, Carlsbad, Hobbs, and Clovis. And there are some themes that come out that people in business and those that work economic development professionally have said that we need as a state to create an environment that jobs can flourish in. Now remember, yes, I am a Democrat. I'm also not a communist. I think the private sector needs to work, but the public sector and government has a real role to play in how the economy is created. And through that, these are going to be some of the basic, real goals that I have in our committee for the upcoming session. The first that we heard everywhere is JTIP and LEDA. The Job Training Incentive Program and the Local Economic Development Act were mentioned all over the place as 2 government programs that involve job training and also last step infrastructure building for businesses that come in. These 2 things have proven very effective. How do we modify those? And even though we don't have any money this year, if they can be made more effective, how do we bring in money in upcoming years and put it in there so that they can be used more effectively and help create jobs? The second thing, broadband. Everywhere from rural New Mexico, where people say I don't have the basic internet capability to run a small business, to Santa Fe, where the film industry has done pretty well, but to do more post-production work, where instead of just filming, you're also doing a lot of the sorting of the film and the music and all that sort of stuff. You need really good broadband, and apparently there's a lack of that up here. So how do we increase broadband service throughout the state? The GRT, anyone who's watched my videos knows how complicated it is, and the height of it, the amount the rate has been raised over the past 20 years has really contributed to a lack of economic development. VOTEC and infrastructure training. This is one thing, once again, that is mentioned all over the place. There is a real need for nurses and plumbers and electricians and welders and all of those things that pay really good money, but maybe we're not doing a good enough job at our high school level and our community college level of training people who may want to do that and make a good wage to go into the workforce. And the last thing is financing. So you hear from the ag sector where older farmers who want to sell their farms, they have kids that don't want to go into farming, and you have people that come out of ag schools that maybe want to buy the farms. No financing there. You have people in the tech transfer market. So if I'm at one of the labs or I'm at a university and I come up with a really good idea that I want to create a business out of, the financing a lot of times isn't there for that business, and I have to move to San Francisco or New York, where a lot of the venture capital is what they call money is to build my business. I mean, how do we invest here in the state? Affordable housing, small business, financing is something we hear everywhere. So those are 5 of the real issues that I'm going to be really looking forward to working on, because if we lose track of how we invest in our future and create a better job environment, we're never going to get out of this hole that we're in now. So thanks as always, everyone, for watching this. I really appreciate it. As always, if you have questions, comments, or concerns on these or any of the issues, I'll be happy to try to answer them for you. Also, we'll be back tomorrow with hopefully a pretty decent report on what we're doing to keep the state fiscally solvent this year. Thanks, everybody. Bye.